How are you doing, YouTube? Matt Massa Beer Reviews, back with a little bit of Homebrew Wednesday up in this piece in the form of my boy Carson's. It's a chocolate rye Saison DH, dry hopped. He sent this about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. A little bit longer getting to these homebrews than I typically do because this dude's had a baby. And so this was bottled 2/09/21. I am reviewing this, say, 22nd or 23rd of March. So this bottle's about a month and a half old. Chocolate rye Saison, dry hopped with I do not know what, which is even funner because then I get to guess. So, you know, chocolate rye Saison, index finger, kind of like it's south of khaki, north of regular. It's kind of like an eggshell color kind of head on it, and it has this murky kind of iced tea kind of look to it. Looks very much like a powdered iced tea, not necessarily like a chocolate malt, chocolate rye kind of thing. A little bit washed out. If I open this as a mystery beer, I would assume this would be like kind of like an old English shilling ale or something like that. That's kind of how it looks, at least color wise. Let's get a nose. I mean, there's a soft fruitiness to it. Nothing as far as a rye spiciness, nothing as far as an overt chocolate, maybe a slight poof of a powdery Nestle kind of chocolate, but a very minimal portion at that. It really is a softer, kind of fruitier nose on it. So it doesn't really give me much as far as Saison right now. It doesn't give me much as far as chocolate and or rye. Those hops seem to be coming through a little bit more. Doesn't smell bad by any stretch. Just a little soft fruitiness. Done and done. Dive in. Cheers. Okay. Well, the Saison yeast comes through like a bulldozer in the taste. And by that I mean for its ABV level and what's going on. You definitely know that you're drinking a Saison when you drink this beer. Peppery notes, coriander, wheat characteristics, an overall spiciness that I think is elevated by the rye in here. That chocolate malt is pretty much the same as the way it was on the nose that it actually is, or the chocolate rye as it is on the nose that it is in the taste. That spiciness elevating those hops a little bit, elevating the spiciness of the actual Saison itself. That little poof of that Nestle chocolate powder. It's not sweet, but it's kind of just this underlying thing. And that's the thing about it. Like, I'm kind of like battling back and forth. Is that spiciness coming from the hops? Is it coming from the rye? Or is it coming from the Saison? Now, you could make the argument, well, you can't detect which one it's coming from. So it's a nice kind of amalgamation, a combination of all those. I don't think that's the case here. I think this is more of a Saison spiciness with the ever so lightest bit of hop and rye. That it's kind of just propping that up slightly to where the yeast is kind of carrying the day here. Reaching for that chocolate malt portion of the show. I don't know where the hops really come into play here. I'm not really getting a big impact taste-wise. Like I said, on the nose, it gave me a soft fruitiness. The taste, it's more Saison leaning in a spicy kind of area. It's not a negative beer. It's probably my least favorite Carson beer that I've had homebrew wise. Not because of anything other than I think just it's flat. Not carbonation wise, but as far as impact wise. He threw me, big beers. He threw me a big beer in this beer mail, one of his massive stouts. And I've had smaller stuff from him. I've really enjoyed some of the mixed culture kind of Saison stuff that he's thrown off. This one just seems like a little bit more kind of, I'm trying to get a little too kooky. Listen, I like dark Saison. I like chocolate malt. I like rye. I like dry hopping. I don't know if this combination works in this setting. I can see it working if someone really pulled it off, right? And you get that big burst of kind of chocolate rye. Have that Saison kind of step up the game. Be a little bit bigger. And, increase or adjust the dry hopping to accommodate the beer. It tastes just a little bit kind of miscalculated. I know that sounds kind of harsh. I'm not a home brewer. But in a perfect world, I think you take this yeast, this profile, because it is the star of the show here. It is big, it's bold, it's spicy. I think you bump everything up. I think you bump up the ABV. I think you bump up the chocolate rye portion of the show. And you bump up the dry hopping to get on that level of that spiciness and the way the yeast kind of comes off. Not necessarily to make a bigger beer for the sake of making a bigger beer, but when you raise the volume on all those to kind of meet the level, be balanced with the way this kind of Saison comes off, yeast comes off on this, I think it makes much more interesting beer. A little bit more chocolatey, a little bit more spicier, but in that rye sense, a little bit more spicier in the hop sense, and just brings a little bit more to the table to stand up to that Saison yeastiness. But not a negative beer. There's nothing off flavor or anything like that. I think just the balance is off on this one. I kind of wanted to warm up a little bit and try it then, but we'll see what's what. But yeah, fine beer. Nothing wrong with it as far as like negative. Just kind of a little bit askew of being, what's the word I want to pull out right now? Harmonic. There you go. We'll do that one. So there you go. A little bit of Homebrew Wednesday in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much for sending this off, Carson. Down there, if you want to talk about it, Massive Beers. If you want to check me out doing the social media stuff, Beer Massif. If you want to check me out doing the podcasting thing, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a little bit of Saison right now. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers.